You are watching. Pause. We pause for a second or two. How do we keep life coherent when so much is changing? This is episode 211. 2,000 soldiers in capital. A couple of days ago, here in Sweden, where I am, it was announced that the Swedish military in cooperation with the Swedish authorities, Swedish government, will do a military exercise in central Stockholm, Sweden's capital. So the details of this military exercise is that 2,000 soldiers will practice positioning and some different, some different parts in central Stockholm. And they will do so tomorrow and up until Tuesday. For a Swede, such a military exercise, such a display of force in our capital is a very new, a very novel experience. Sweden has been a country where the military and warfare overall has had this fictitious feeling. Like it doesn't happen here. It happens somewhere else. And people of generations above me that I have talked with about serving in the military, they say something quite similar to each other. They say that to prepare to be in the military as a Swede it has had this fictitious feel to it. Like pretending, in a way. Today's episode is called 2000 Soldiers in Capital. And the situation, the emotional situation that we're talking about today, is our acute situation. Acute situations is whenever we feel, or whenever something does happen that is very sudden, very shocking, very instantaneous. That is an acute situation. Something that catches us off guard. Something that shocks us. Something that sort of catches us off balance. And the Polaroid that we're talking about today is not necessarily a skill, but a goal. We are talking about our goal for acute situations. And that goal is authority. Often, most of the time, when we talk about authority, we often focus on how to develop more authority. We often focus on how to become more powerful, how to become stronger, how to become more dominant. But acute goal authority, what it is about, is to create a solid sense of judgment into something very specific. Authority can be very abstract. Two people can mean very different things with it. But in this context, we are talking about something very specific. Acute goal authority is about who stays in a place, who is the last person to stay in a place, as well as who is the last person to let go of their hand, to let go of an object, something with their hand. Who's the last person to do so? Who's holding on the longest? Those two things, that's what acute goal authority is about specifically. Who is staying and who is holding an object or a person or a place. And the point is not to try to become more and more dominant. That is unrealistic. The point is not to become more and more sort of simple-minded in that I am staying here or I am holding on to this. That's not what authority is about. Acute goal authority is about developing a sense, a solid judgment into who is really supposed to be staying here last. Who is really supposed to be holding on to this thing the longest? It has to do with developing a sense into whose natural place it is to be in a place or to hold on to something. And what we will see tomorrow, when 2,000 soldiers will take to the Swedish streets, will take to the streets of our capital, is a display of authority. 2,000 Swedish soldiers will place their 2 feet on the most important streets of Sweden. And they will stand there for 5 days. And acute situations, sudden situations, they happen when 2 parties have a different idea about who is staying somewhere, who is holding on to something. When 2 parties have the same idea about, or different idea I should say, about who is staying in a place, then we will have a sudden acute situation happening. And what we will see now, what we do not know really, is how Swedish people will react to this display of authority. It has not really been done before. Probably many Swedes will be very nervous. Probably many Swedes will be scared by the sheer demonstration of power. It will present Swedes with a new image of who is in charge, who is staying in a place, who is holding on to something last. And probably you, the viewer, can feel in me, you can feel in sort of the mood in the room right now that it is very uncertain what to think of it. I am not sure how to position myself in face of this demonstration of authority now being done. Great uncertainty. And the formal reason being given by Swedish authorities and military as to why conduct this display is to, quote, be prepared in case of crisis or war. So preparedness. And what we will see now is how this display of authority and how this preparedness, as it is being called, how that will play out and how that will relate to acute situations. Will this have a calming effect, or will it have an agitating effect? I don't know. In any case, it's a novel thing. It's a new thing. It has not been done before. So it's a new experience, regardless of what effect it will have. So probably the reaction from Swedish people will also be a novel reaction, a new reaction, something we have not seen before, really. Mm. Mm. That's it for today. Thank you.